Hallo und herzlich willkommen zum Auf die Fresse, wie wXw Review podcast in English. I'm in Hamilton, joined by Kilby and Mike. We've got a quick stop just before Carrot, but how's it going these days?
Going good. Rushing towards Carrot. And I say we had a quick stop at probably the best venue in the world.
Yeah, sold out 650 for Markthal, Hamburg for Dead End. Maybe Dead End for a few, one we'll get to a little bit later on. But yeah, this was one they did live, just about what weekend before last. I think it's one we've said, in the past of Markthal, Hamburg, they've kind of been treated as, I don't want to say secondary show, maybe B shows. This one, to me, apart from like the headline events, I was having a tough time. And again, some of this, as we'll go through, is not my take on some wrestlers, but in terms of like the bullet points, what we've come away with, big events, but between the bells, maybe not the best we've had. But I don't know what your big takeaways from Hamburg were.
My view on Hamburg was Bielefeld was a lot better. I felt Bielefeld, if Bielefeld was like a 7 out of 10, Hamburg was like a, 5.5. It was, it wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination, but I felt that Bielefeld ticked more boxes for me. That we're about to talk about, but yeah, I think it was a decent show, but I didn't feel particularly strong, if we sort of say that.
Well, we'll get cracking on this. So, of course, the fight for the pre-show match they had was Planet Gojira, Mark Empire and Robert Dreisker beating Joseph Fennick Jr. and Anil Marek of High Perform Limited. 6 minutes disqualification. I think this is really pretty much to set up the stuff that was on the Shotgun vlog, and I guess we kind of saw where things were going. I guess bookending with tag matches that impacted the title scene, but the fact that you had Dreisker and Empire newly formed, not really doing anything on Coward Weekend. This wasn't exactly going to be High Perform Limited beating them to set themselves, especially when this wasn't exactly the championship challenger team. But it was fine enough for pre-show, but again, 6 minutes, not really much going on. Again, what happens after the show was probably the big takeaway. Main show opened, and I think I had this as my match of the night, which probably says a lot. Michael Oku over Hector, just under a quarter of an hour. We've said it pretty much since day one of this, Mike. Hector's pretty much the glue of that undercard, and no surprise against Oku. Pretty damn good match for Markthal.
Yeah, I thought this was good. It was a little bit. I felt it kind of got a little bit lost in the middle of it, but it was. Hector's a very sort of dependable person to have that lower mid in that sort of mid card. In the same way that not bringing his name up for the sake of it, but I always kind of feel like Mario Salani kind of was the same thing. Probably about 5 years ago, him and Hector were kind of like they were just very reliable to just be a safe hand to work with anybody basically.
Yeah, throw them in a match with anyone, and you got something of a certain standard out of them, which every show needs really. But yeah, I mean, Michael Oku, he's in Carrot. Hector, he's in the alternate four-way yet again. So I guess it was only ever going to go one way, and Oku, after that little shaky start in wXw, on a pretty good run. One of those who's thrown his name for Carrot along with 15 others. Next, another guy in Carrot, a Cow Noir, hoping to be a two-time winner, God, I hope not. Beat Fast Time Mudo. I'm not a Cow Noir guy, and this isn't like from 5 years ago when he's brought in the era of empty arena wrestling. Yeah, I'm not going to go there. But this just to me just didn't click. Like Mudo, the fact that he was the bad guy in this match and the crowd were cheering him, and it wasn't the irony cheers. I don't get it. Like Cow Noir as an act. Like, he's called himself now the King of the Indies.
Yet, in 2025 as well. It's not
well, also, what Indies? He's not done progress since the end of last year. I think the only place he works with any regularity is Riot Cabaret these days. Is that the independent scene?
Riot Cabaret and whoever decides to bring him over to Germany.
Yeah, which... Yeah. I mean, again, it's a catchy tagline, but it's like, to me, that's a character that's kind of run its course, and I don't know, I'm hoping, as we're going to touch on, the carrot reward is a spot in the for a match for a vacant Unified World Wrestling title now at TBA. We'll see, but the fact that is reward now means it's not very straightforward. You get a title shot. This is now potentially the person who wins Carrot. Could be champion in a month or two's time, depending when they do the match. But yeah, as for this one, Mudo's, I think more than brought his end of it. Karen I just do not click with at all. But yeah, it's it wasn't as egregious as some of his other stuff, but again, with 10 minutes, you're not going to get the full on the trampoline and the performing melodramatic stuff he has been known to do. Next up, we had Leah Bloom beating One Called Manders, another 10-minute sprint, and yeah, this one. I had Manders down as a Carrot favourite, and if you want to put this down as this is the the dry run. Again, this would mean, Manders wins the title, and then, just like maybe an New Year thing, except this time take my title back for a while, who knows. But it's pretty good. Bloom, he's, I guess, kind of rudderless at the moment because his big title match, that's obviously out the window. And as we stand now, I don't think he's even booked for Carrot, or at least for a match, which is quite for 180 from where we were 6 weeks ago after the Kayfic Schlacht.
Yeah, he's kind of lost and found, but I mean, I suppose it does kind of suit him because he spent a lot of Tagfest being kind of like lost with nothing to do, so he's an unpredictable person to have around. But yeah, I think I still think Manders has got a lot of sort of currency in wXw, and I think this isn't really. It wasn't a embarrassing loss at all, was it? It was completely reasonable.
No, and I think the factory knows like with no free count and shoulder, but 3.01 if you want to go that route. It was a very close call, so plenty of scope for a rematch. Going to the main event, Hair versus Hair, Stephanie Mays beating Bobby Guns. What was your take on this? Because like for me, live, the crowd sounded really hot. Watching on stream, this felt like had a really eggy middle where you kind of guess Stephanie Mays isn't going to be leaving shaved. The typical play for this is the bad guy. Had all the set for this. He's one who's going to be leaving with a cue ball. I think again, just from watching this, the crowd were well invested in this. It just didn't seem to translate on demand, at least in terms of between the bells.
Yeah, I saw somebody posted a sort of a fan, not a fan cam, but effectively a fan cam during this match, and it was really, really hot. I just don't think. I think it maybe got a little bit buggered by the mix on the VOD, really. But I thought this was all right. These two have good chemistry with each other. And having sort of seen from the Shotgun vlog, obviously Bobby did lose, but having seen from the Shotgun vlog, actually I think Bobby looked pretty good with the. Well, he wasn't completely bald. He wasn't Kurt Angle's cue ball. He was sort of just buzz cut, wasn't he? So
yeah, no blades on the trimmers, which again, rather that from the full like Raven TNA job where it's back to front, and he's bleeding all over Hamburg going into the night. It'd been one way to leave a mark, but I mean, it did the trick. I mean, the fact that in the space of since Tag Festival, we've had we've kind of speedrun the split up of Fight and Spirit, the heel turn, and now this. So it's a full-on repackaged job to the point where you'd be daft for thinking Guns isn't making it to the final four. At least that's the way these things typically go.
Yeah, but, I mean, it's in a way this could be the thing which sort of locks him in, I suppose, more than anything else. This could be the thing. He's lost the honor being the honourable one. He's now just locked in, short hair. Let's go.
Yeah, Bobby Anders bastards all in one. Moving on after intermission, we had Lawrence Roman over Yuya Aoki. It was another sprint for match under 8 minutes. For me, this was kind of like the same kind of issues as the pre-show match, where what they did was good, but it just never had the time to get into that higher gear. Definitely match would left me wanting a lot more. And again, Romans and Carrot, Aoki, lost out on the road to 16 Carat Tomb. I think this was his last match before going back to Japan. So, everyone's only going to point one way, and this was one where all the guys in Carrot or in fairly big spots got the wins. Almost like the go home show was meant to be. But yeah, I thought pretty decent. Just left me wanting a lot more because I think I've said this a few times this week in matches I've seen. There's a lot better matches in these guys than one we got, and that wasn't say it stunk, but just if I had a bit more time, I think we'd have gotten something a whole lot better.
Yeah, it was. This was the first one back after the break, and I think they just needed something to just get people back in before the two main events, I suppose, really.
And then next up, the European title match. So going in for Shotgun Vlog, Levaniel was told to return the European title. We had stuff going, well, no, I'm going to have a special delivery. And of course, we had a fella in a DPD jacket just before bell time. And it was a cardboard box with a big bottle of protein powder and was it like a plastic toy WWE belt or whatever the hell that was. Mike D clearly not happy with it to the point where he yeeted a bottle of protein powder into the mat, covering the front row photographer with all of it. So front row in Hamburg going back a little bit bigger than they came, which, yeah, but I think we said later on the main event, there's a very unfortunate photo of one of the Alex Duke and Norman House rolling around with the powder, which, yeah, out of context, the screenshot could be very naughty, but as a match again, Mike D and Ahura, I thought this is a weird one to book because they've clearly had Ahura being on the massive upward trajectory, going from, hey, he's been winning these undercard matches against big names which haven't really been noticed, and now you've got this big, flashlight on him, hey, big match, title match, and he loses, and again, I would think who's going to be one of the final four, at the very least for Cara, just because, storyline with Weigel Blanc and obviously that big run. But I didn't get this match just in terms of, where it was and how close to Cara it was as well. Mike D, didn't, it wasn't, full of ring rust. I know he has missed a couple of matches since. Was it for North and GWF this past weekend? Which I know got a few eyebrows raised just because of, hey, you've just come back from injury now, you're missing out, what's going on, injury again, or is it the whole spectrum of WWE trials? I guess we'll see in due course, but yeah, for this one, things perfectly fine, but this was more about the story of Levaniel and the European belt rather than the match itself.
Yeah, I thought this one was, Mike D. Ahura was probably my favourite of the night, actually. I thought this one worked really well. It was another one of those ones where Ahura sort of was on the up end of his sort of his skill, because I always, as the famous thing I always say, wonderfully tall, high ceiling, but very, very low floor. And I think he was sort of closer to the top with him for this time. And obviously Mike D kind of does bring that sort of level of intensity, which I think works really well with someone like Ahura. Ahura is quite small and can be thrown around, and he can fly around and sell like crazy. So I think that's probably why it worked really, really well. But yeah, that was for me. I actually really enjoyed this one.
Yeah, I think as well, it's like, to me, it didn't feel like they clicked. Like, for some parts where you could tell, it was like the with the Weigel Blanc match, where the story there was he came back early, he was a little bit off pace. That didn't seem to be the story we're telling here. But again, I think Rob put in review was stuff like, Mike D was able to power through. I mean, the stuff at the end, which, again, with you say was with Jeff Cobb, but it's unfair. And with Mike Davis, a lot of that same kind of thing where someone his size should not be capable of doing the stuff he does, but he does, and he makes it look effortless. Of course, the main thing coming out of this was Levaniel running in, laid out Mike D with a European title belt, and that's now been set for night 2 of Carrot. So, yeah, the match we were going to get, they've slotted in for on that Saturday. We'll see what goes on there. And the main event, the Big Bucks won, then lost for tag team titles over Blood, Oscar and I guess the Hamburger Young Yuta Nakashima for the night, almost starting a big riot in a Mark Toll with that Hamburg shirt.
Yeah, well, he runs the risk of alienating 50% of the crowd there, really, I suppose, isn't it?
We did get the big St. Pauli chance before everyone realised, hey, we meant to be cheering these guys, but at least it's got a momentum to come going back to Japan with. But I thought
I
this
have to
one,
admit, as soon as well, we could talk about the thing, but as soon as they initially lost the belts, I was like, well, there we go. That's very Hamburg. That's very
yeah.
Hamburg.
So of course, match Big Bucks got the title shot through a non-title win in Mendig a couple of weeks back. I mean, this obviously stand fair. Big Bucks, they've started clicking. They're not just the guys who you put out to beat to automatically lose to bigger teams. But yeah, this was a lot of isolate, divide and conquer, that whole kind of thing. But yeah, the end, I guess you got the dusty finish was it was Alex Duke punched out Oscar with a chain, not Yuto's chain, but another chain. Don't know why we needed to, but there you go. Big Bucks win, they celebrate, and then the chains dropped, and Tassel Young realised, hang on a second, no VAR, because this is indie wrestling. Restarts the match, which, okay. 30 seconds later, restart the match. The brainbuster from Yuto, because Oscar was down, having been punched out. Youngblood retained, but I guess, for shock and look after this, they're doing the 4-way tables, ladders and chairs match, which is main eventing night 2 of Carrot. Gajira, High Perform Limited, Bucks, and of course Youngblood for the belts. And yeah, I mean, first thing I thought was, I know Matthew Botchamania is going to be there. They're doing a TLC match. Do wXw's form of table matches, especially with multiple teams? Yeah, I think they're tempting fate, and see how it goes. I mean, we're doing full tables, ladders and chairs. I think the famous one that keeps getting brought up was just a tables match. But yeah, I say it was one of those. They absolutely trolled the hell out of Hamburg with that finish. But yeah, I think the fact that now it's a 4-way match, that is, okay, I guess we'll see whether it's, climb the ladder to grab the belts or what. We'll see on Saturday night. But I think that's probably pointing to, we ain't seeing Youngblood. Yeah, well, it is the main, but I think this is pointing to there's going to be title change coming out of Carrot.
Well, I think yeah, that's pretty. I think that's could be quite expected, really. The pro wrestling, obviously. I was sort of saying to Ian a few weeks back, because I was watching Pro Wrestling Holland with a lot of interest, because I always felt, because they're also holding the titles there, and the thought is, well, if they drop that belt, pretty sure they'll be dropping the other ones too.
Yeah,
they didn't drop it, but they did have a rematch, and apparently got taken very close. So there's a rematch coming very soon after Carrot, so we'll see.
I know in terms of like the future wXw cards, obviously coming out of Carrot, just looking, we've got like the post of who's on. No Youngblood in Bad Sacking, at least on the poster. They are on the Dresden Leipzig doubleheader at the end of the month, and then yeah, Frankfurt. Oh, they are also in Erfurt at the start of April. So, at least based on the direction of travel, at least how things look, I would say probably the last few weeks of Youngblood and wXw, and of course, New Japan. Who knows what's going on there? I mean, there's not like prescribed, your excursion is this amount of time when you go back, but it does certainly seem, they've not been Rev Pro since last summer. Things going here, then we're saying PW Holland. So we'll see. I mean, maybe I'll be eating my words coming out of Saturday night, but certainly that is the way it seems to go. Notable stuff from Shotgun.
There's no obvious landing spot for them in New Japan. That's the thing. But I suppose...
No, and I guess if we want to be pessimistic, and I'll being pessimistic, them being a tag team really puts a limit on them. Like, you go back to New Japan and you are tag team Youngblood. New Japan's tag division is notorious for having a ceiling. Like, yeah, if you're part of the rotation, not for wrestle, but if you're part of the rotation they have, you have a pretty good run. You'll be in and out of title picture, on undercard matches for ages, then thrust back in the picture. But it's also not a very high ceiling. Like, they don't tend to main event, big shows outside of, Naito and Hiromu when they've had the belts. But yeah, we'll see what comes in. Maybe this is a kickstart because they have been going towards younger talent in New Japan. But again, we aren't a New Japan podcast. Maybe one of these days. But as for the shotgun blog, few bullet points. There's a very memeable screenshot of Norman Harris in the whole argument, or Robert Driscoll. For once, I agree with Norman Harris and calling Oscar a traitor. Maybe I'll be twice. Michael Oku wants to win Carrot, who took a dig at the Bird for not being in Hamburg, not Caro Noir, Igel Blanc, of course. Mudo's tipping him to an ambition and Axman to win Carrot for KXS double going into the Dresden Leipzig doubleheader. Stephanie May's done with Bobby Guns, we'll see about that. Aaliyah Bloom's got a new catchphrase, Watch Me Bloom, which I don't know that's...
Yeah, I wouldn't.
Yeah, don't stick it on a shirt.
Yeah.
And Bobby Gunn's going to change his habits, as he said, for Iron Man's in the past, and he's now not going to win Carrot to continue his change. And, like I say, Final Four at the very least, I think is what we're expecting. Couple of news bits. Of course, we're going to be doing the full Carrot rundown. Podcast dropping after this, so keep an eye on your podcast feeds. Icarus, Yuto, Nakashima, Fast Time, Mudo, Data Schwartz, they're your Final Four names announced for Ambition. Anita Vaughan, Fast Time Mudo for the Shotgun title at the Shotgun Bonanza. We've also got Dennis Cash Dulnig, Kuro, Ravy Davey, Ryan Clancy, and Red Scorpion as part of that show. We also announced the TLC match for tag titles and Levine against Mike D title matches for Night 2 of Carrot. Away from Carrot, Alpha Kevin popped up in America last month, or in January.
Really?
WWN Proving Ground. I knew they existed, but they're an absolute shell of what they used to be. So they do like their...
I know they Melanie and they had Melanie and Kevin Roaster went to Disneyland, so that's probably they did it.
They're pretty close distance, but yeah. So WWN, they...
I'm not stalking them, by the way. I just know they went to
Instagram. But yes, like WWN back in the day was like the shell company for Evolve. Yeah. Of course, Evolve now, part of WWE, that's starting things this week. Again, not an Evolve podcast. But they still were doing like their weekly trainee shows in a venue that is not unlike the Fight Club Park in Gelsenkirchen. Okay. It's literally it's a squash court. They've stuck a ring in 3 sides. The ring's literally touching the walls. Like if you want to do dives, you do them towards the crowd because there's no space in that place. And I was clicking through Cage Match the other night, and like Alpha Kevin, surely not in Sunderland. Cage Match links to me, surely not. But their show's on YouTube, and yes, it was. He beat a fella called Zacchaeus in a match and then took part in a Rumble to end the show. That's the one thing. So I guess, hey, if you're in town, will work. Guess I got a few bucks towards the Fast Pass. Yeah. And to be fair, they did put them over as trainee of Walter and Chris Hill, but I thought Chris Hill was the guy he eliminated. But again, American Indies to be glad to get the guy's name right sometimes,
Well, that's a show I'll probably have to watch now.
It's like maybe 10-minute match, but
yeah.
Massage Starker come back to wXw in May. He's going to be part of Fan at the Marktal in Hamburg, May 23rd. I'm going to go a bit further ahead, going back to Inner Circle stuff. wXw released a trailer about a week ago for Inner Circle before Carrot next year. It's Thursday, March 6th at the Turok in Essen. So I guess if you want to plot your dates, that means Carrot is likely to be March 7th, 8th, 9th in 2026. Turok is not a venue that wXw is running, or indeed Essen, if you don't count the old academy, is not a place that wXw's ran for a while. Their last show there was June 2006 Fan. They moved to a music palette in Essen before a ban on wrestling in Essen meant they eventually relocated to Turbine Hall. I think it was at Zoist, Norman House birthplace, and a few other places before they settled there. But Turok, if you watch a certain stream or the Best of 2005 stream back when wXw now was on Vimeo, there was a street fight. Adam Polak and Baron von Hagen against Iceman and GTS. The Essen street fight where they actually brawled around Essen. That's the same venue, so I think tickets of that, I guess, be going on sale Monday. That's my speculation. They haven't announced. But it's a much bigger venue than the current Gelsenkirchen Fight Club. So yeah, these won't be flying off as quickly as Cardiff this year did, but a lot
Well,
more
at least
space in a
it
much
makes
different venue.
Yeah, I mean, I think they will still sell quickly, but like as I say, there's more tickets to go around. But
Yeah,
I mean,
there's more to go. It's not going to be like half of them going in week one like it was this year.
in a way, it makes complete sense because it's a historic venue of wXw. It's in the same spirit of Inner Circle. I have to admit, I was always sort of thinking they should run Inner Circle at the Cult Temple. I think that makes perfect sense, but because it's a historic venue for wXw, they've done Ambition shows there and things like that. But actually, in a way, this is even better. And in fairness, I didn't think this was possible. So it's great, and we get
Someone's pulled the right strings, and I'm can't wait to get to that place.
It's wXw isn't the promotion that was there in 2007. It's doing quick back of the paper. That's 13 years since they've been there. Possibly even more.
20 next year.
Oh, there we go. I'm terrible at maths. 19 years since they've been there. I think there's a lot of water under the bridge. Probably people who work there who don't even realise that they were. So, but it's a completely different business now there. So, yeah, really excited for that. And actually, I really like Essen as a place. Like actual Essen, it's very nice in the centre.
I've never been, so that'll be my first time in Essen. And yeah, and I'll say is if they do announce like a single light tube deathmatch to troll the local authorities, then it'll be the one and only time I would guess. But anyway, that's Carrot next year. Carrot this year, of course, this weekend. Preview show, keep an eye out on your podcast feeds. Of course, Inner Circle 17th on Thursday, then Friday, Saturday, Sunday for Turbine Hall. After Carrot, March 15th for Kulturhalle in Bad Säckingen. Got a couple of matches so far. Kuro and Eigel Blanc against the Big Bucks. Ilya Bloom against Adam Priest. And Planet Kaju against Thomas Shire and Manders. That is 1 hour be on the second that drops on demand. We'll be doing these drip-fed match by match. A couple of Wheel of Wrestlings. March 22nd, Dresden for Stromberg. March 23rd for Hellraiser in Leipzig. And then 16 Carrot Gold Revenge, April 5th at the Batch Cup in Frankfurt. So, Mike, just a quick recap, where can we find us on social media before we come back tomorrow for the Carrot preview?
If you search Mike Kilby, Mikekilby on pretty much any platform, you'll be able to find me.
Search for me, Ian Wrestling or Back Body Drop, or platforms you'll find. Probably active on Instagram more than anything else this weekend for photos. But yeah, thanks so much for listening. Keep subscribed to this podcast feed, whether it's on YouTube, Spotify, or wherever. We'll be back very, very soon for our 16 Carrot Gold preview. Until then, cheers.